Hello again, guys. My name is Nelson Delgado. I'm an energy psychologist in Mississauga, Ontario. This short little video is to basically help understand what's going on with the Mercury Retrograde. And you're probably wondering, what is Mercury Retrograde? If you don't really follow astrology, you might not really understand what's going on. And all that means is sometimes celestial bodies, even though they're rotating around the sun normally, they rotate around the sun either quicker or slower compared to our perspective. And what that does is it changes the alignment between its position and a constellation. So you'll have stars sending out signals from each constellation. That signal gets amplified by said planet. These signals are always transmitting. So what ends up happening is that we get these frequencies and they affect our consciousness. There's like a cosmic weather going on all the time. It's always shifting and changing. So in this specific challenge, what Mercury retrograde represents is more of like a pause. It's pause, it's really understand what is being said or meant. But in this instance, it's going through Pisces. And in Pisces, there's a lot of faith-oriented challenges. So how would that show up? It would show up where you might reread a text 3 times and somehow it starts an argument again. And here are 3 areas where that this retrograde part is going to cover. It's going to cover 3 different shadow challenges. Communication in that is dishonorable. Communication that continues to add to further doubt, whether it be suspicion or self-doubt. And then there's weakness, where you can become over sentimental about your communication, or you can become cruel. And this might sound, kind of mystical or enlightened speak, but the key thing here is that when someone misinterprets your, letter K as a response in a text, you got to be honest with that. You got to find out, they need more understanding of what's going on. So to give context, the last time we had a similar Mercury retrograde in Pisces, it was early 2000s. There was an internet boom, AOL chat rooms, early social media. We learned something kind of important, that humans plus fast communication often equals emotion without any tone. We sometimes sent emails in all caps as if we were screaming. We subtweeted before subtweeting even existed. We forwarded things without checking them. And this sounds familiar. Those that were around that time, maybe some Gen Xers understand what I'm going through. So now fast forward to today, we've upgraded the technology, have we really upgraded our nervous system? Like, that's the big question here. And so when it comes to the shadow of dishonor, instead of reacting immediately, what if we just let the emotional wave pass before hitting the send? Because sometimes the most spiritual thing to do is not to reply right away. Then comes the shadow challenge of doubt. Instead of saying, "Can you believe this nonsense?" what if we asked, "Help me understand what you meant"? This turns doubt. It turns the doubt from toxicity when seeking confirmation. So it becomes wisdom when you start to seek clarity instead. And finally, the shadow of weakness. This is the part where we remember the person on the other side of the screen is also maybe confused, human, trying. So Mercury retrograde in Pisces doesn't break communication. It reveals where we were never truly listening. So here are some 3 courageous micro choices you can make during this time. Pause before posting. Ask before assuming. Soften before defending yourself. Is this a small thing to do? Yes, but it's also revolutionary, don't you think? Because evolving global consciousness might not require a grand awakening. It just might require fewer reactive texts and more tender conversations. And if all else fails during this retrograde, just blame Mercury for it, and try it and grow anyway. So hopefully this video was helpful, and you can comment down below if it was. Maybe you're dealing with communication where there's cruelty or over sentimentality. Maybe you're dealing with doubt in how you want to convey your message. You just deeply inquire at this time, and you'll find the truth of what you need to say, especially after you find your emotion or your emotional regulation. Once you can regulate those emotions, you understand what they were trying to say, then you can check in with your intuition and say, what does my true self really want to convey that would be constructive instead of destructive? And during these times where we have, a conflict, tumultuous conflict in different parts of the world, where we have uncertainty going on in the economic forum, where we're in a distribution phase. I'm not sure if you know about this economic jargon, but a distribution phase is oftentimes the opposite of an accumulation phase, where those that have the most might choose to dump on the rest. So it's important to inquire, but important to contemplate before you start declaring things, because it can cause even more of a kerfuffle than is necessary. Thank you very much for watching this long, and God bless you, and take it slow. Calm everything down. What's funny is we'll actually accelerate our progression when we slow our response. Find that heart-brain coherence. Let's do that first, and we'll be okay. Take care, everyone.